Hi, this is All Fire, and this is a response to a question for the atheists, which I guess is a response to a question from some atheists, and how nice it is to have a dialogue going. So I don't really know much about God and amputees and what kind of problems they're having with one another, and I don't want to speak for anyone else, but I do intend to answer your question. You asked, why are we born furnished with knowledge? And you imposed a few interesting restrictions on the answer, namely that it cannot be nature, it can't be the genes, or it can't be evolution. And I guess this is supposed to make it a hard question, but really if you just take the first restriction, that it can't be nature or the result of some natural process, then whatever answer I give has to be some supernatural explanation. And therefore my explanation doesn't have to follow any of the rules that govern our universe, and that ultimately I can make up whatever answer I want. So this is really a pretty easy question. The fetus absorbs the knowledge through ESP. You know, Verizon has actually extended Fios coverage to include the uterus. Alright, I'm going to tell you the truth, but it's not pretty. Every single one of the babies in that study died, plummeted to its death off the edge of that cliff. The government covered the whole thing up and blamed it on the North Koreans. Yeah, splat. Splat. Fonzie wills it to be so. No, actually, babies can fly. They just like to fuck with us. So there's your answer. Your entire premise hinges on the idea that infants have the ability to process information conceptually at an advanced level. You're claiming that the baby was born specifically with knowledge that it's heavy, that it would fall, that it can't fly, and that there's gravity, and this just isn't true. An infant has no concept of weight. It doesn't know anything about flight. It doesn't even know what flight is. It certainly wouldn't know anything about gravity. It knows only that the situation it's in triggers fear. This is a primal instinct triggering a basic biological response. The fact of the matter is that there's a certain amount of knowledge which you need just to operate your body, to move your lungs or use your limbs, for example. And also, I think if your species is going to want to get anywhere in the world, you're going to have to know how to mate. This is all part of your basic operating system, and yes, it is a product of evolution. This isn't unique to humans at all. I think as far as falling off a cliff goes, any land animal would respond the same way, because we've been dealing with gravity for hundreds of millions of years, and we have developed a sensitivity to it, and we have instincts that keep us from getting ourselves into trouble sometimes. In fact, a lot of so-called lower life forms, insects, reptiles maybe, instinct is all they have. They're born with all the knowledge they're ever going to possess, and they gain little or no knowledge during the course of their lifetimes. These instincts go all the way back to the simplest one-celled organisms that would either gravitate towards or shy away from light, or migrate to water of a particular temperature. And yes, these instincts are encoded in the genes. They're using DNA, which is nothing if not a means of encoding information. There's simply no question about that. I could also talk about studies that show specifically that phobias, which are fears, are genetic and can be passed on to one's offspring. And I've also heard about cases where, due to some genetic defect, people have been born lacking some of the instincts that we take for granted. So it's genetic. And also, if you understand anything about the theory, the concept of natural selection, whether you believe in evolution or not, I would hope that you could see how the tendency to spontaneously fling yourself off a dangerous precipice in your infancy is really not a desirable characteristic for you to have if you want your species to be a successful one. And I think that's just the kind of thing that's going to hurt your chances of having a long and fruitful existence on planet Earth.